Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into my first NFL video this offseason. It's going to be my first NFL related video content that I've created since the last time you guys saw me do that over a month ago. Just been kind of enjoying the month of January. It's my birthday month. Had a lot of stuff with holiday parties, the Gasparilla parade last week. So now that that's all behind me, I'm ready to get back into my NFL content creation. And the first video I'm doing for you guys, I'm going to give you 5 likely NFL players that are going to be the first player that's going to be traded in the offseason. I'm not sure when it's going to happen. I mean, we had that, actually more than a few years back when Alex Smith got traded to the Washington Commanders. They were known by a different team name when he did get traded there. And that happened, like the Thursday or Friday before the Super Bowl? Could that happen again this year? Or maybe it could happen in the coming weeks after the Super Bowl. But my number one, let's go ahead and dive right into this video. My number one player likely to be traded this offseason as the first player, I'm going with Derek Carr because it's pretty easy. There is a February 15th deadline where he said that he would not pull the trigger, where it could give the Raiders more time with his contract situation to trade him this offseason. So look for Derek Carr to be traded at some point in the next 11 days. Now, he currently has 3 years left on his contract. Now, these numbers are from overthecap.com. As far as his cap number, this upcoming season, he would have $34.8 million, and then in 2024 he would have $43.8 million as a cap number, and then in 2025 it would be $43.1 million. Now, that's quite a bit of number to reach to, in my opinion, for Derek Carr. But I'm just giving you guys some likely names that could be traded. Now, the team that's going to acquire him has to look at that contract. Could we see like a restructure in his contract? I definitely could see that, especially if it's going to be a place that Derek Carr wants to go to. Now, it came out yesterday from Adam Schefter that the Raiders have already granted Derek Carr permission to speak with other teams that are interested in trading for him, but they have also agreed in the compensation. So the parameters of the trade have been set with these teams. So he reported teams, so that obviously that means there's a market out there for him. So potential teams I could see Derek Carr going to, and I think his most likely landing spot's going to be in the NFC South. I could either see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now with Tom Brady officially retired, the New Orleans Saints, who would actually have a lot of work to do with their cap situation. I'll be talking about that here at the end of the video. And then the Carolina Panthers I could see, unless they want to maybe go all in and trying to get one of these quarterbacks in the upcoming draft and go with a younger route. And then obviously there is the New York Jets. I think he could get traded to, but with the name I'm about to talk to you about later in the video, I think he's going to be option B, and the Jets going to get a veteran quarterback this offseason. So yeah, Derek Carr is easily the number one player. My number two player I could see being the most likely player to be traded first this offseason, I am actually going to go with DeAndre Hopkins. Now, yesterday it was reported that he met with their new GM, Monty Ossenfort, to discuss his future with the team. And now it has been reported multiple times this offseason that the Cardinals would like to move on from DeAndre Hopkins. And it does make sense. It's going to be a whole new regime. Kyler Murray, he tore his ACL, so he's likely going to miss the beginning of the next year, if not the first half of the season. So next year is going to be kind of a wash for this new GM and whoever the head coach that the Cardinals end up hiring. Now, when you look at DeAndre Hopkins' contract, he, as far as his cap number in 2023, it's $30.7 million. In 2024, it's $26.2 million. That's quite a bit of money for a aging veteran wide receiver who has been injury prone throughout his career. Now, there's also been people bringing up that fact that maybe DeAndre Hopkins is going to want to get one last payday. So will that affect his trade? Does that kind of make his potential trade market kind of be pushed out, and maybe it kind of drags in to the offseason closer to the free agency period? But if there are teams that have plenty of cap space to go get a DeAndre Hopkins and consider giving him a new contract, definitely the Chicago Bears. They have a lot of cap. They have the most cap space, and they need a wide receiver. The New York Giants need to upgrade their wide receiver room. And then I could also see maybe the New England Patriots. They do have some cap space to work with this offseason, and I could see them. They need to upgrade. They do need a alpha A type of wide receiver in that New England offense, especially with them bringing in Bill O'Brien and wanting to see if Mac Jones is the true future franchise quarterback for the Patriots. Now, moving into my number 3 likely player to be traded first this offseason, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Now, I will say this, Aaron Rodgers is definitely the number 1 veteran quarterback that will be out there as far as the trade market if teams are looking to acquire. But for multiple reasons, I could see this being dragged out a little bit, and I could see Derek Carr getting moved before Rodgers, even DeAndre Hopkins. That's why Hopkins is number 2 on my list. Now, obviously, the future with the Packers is up in the air because of Jordan Love. If they want to end up keeping Rodgers, then we could see Jordan Love possibly getting traded as well. And then also, Rodgers has been talking on the Pat McAfee show that he is debating retirement as well, so that is in consideration. Now, Ian Rappaport actually came on Pat McAfee's show this week, and he said his educated guess is that Aaron Rodgers wants to be back in Green Bay, and he thinks there's a very good chance he can be back with the Packers. So I just think with there being a mutual kind of interest to seeing if there is a future with the Packers and Rodgers, I can see that being dragged out. But then, if they decide they want to see what they have in Jordan Love, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is 39, and maybe there is a time and a place this offseason where they'll find a deal to move Rodgers. Now, when you look at his remaining contract, he has 4 years left on his deal. Again, per over the cap, these are the cap numbers. For the upcoming season, it'll be $31.6 million. 2024 is $40.7 million. 2025 is $59.3 million. And 2026 is $53.4 million. Now, again, guys, I get all these numbers from over the cap. If you want to actually see the breakdown of the contract with, if they would want to move on with him, dead money and all that stuff, go to their website and you can check that out. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be a cap expert for you guys. Now, some potential teams, obviously the New York Jets, he's been heavily connected for there. I've seen reports that Joe Douglas is all in and getting Rodgers to New York, so that's definitely a spot. And then another spot is the Las Vegas Raiders. Devontae Adams posted a picture with him and Rodgers this week. Obviously, they're moving on from Derek Carr. They're in a loaded division. Well, we'll see if that division is going to be loaded like we thought, but still, that division has Patrick Mahomes. It has Justin Herbert. We'll see if the Sean Payton, Russell Wilson connection, see if that revives Wilson's career. So obviously, the Raiders are in an arms race, and then with how this past season went with Josh McDaniels and all that talk if he should be fired or not, I could see them trying to go get a Rodgers so they can compete within that division in the upcoming season. And then the other team that's kind of a sneaky one to watch is the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, there is just a sense that the Titans could be ready to move on from Ryan Tannehill this offseason. And if nobody knows, Aaron Rodgers did buy raw land. It's a joke that McAfee talks about with Rodgers, but he bought raw land out there last year. So that means he's probably building a property. Maybe that property's already built. So he has some land out there in Nashville, Tennessee. So if they decide to move on from Tannehill, obviously they're going to want to move on with an upgrade in quarterback, which would be Rodgers. So that's why I could see Rodgers landing with the Titans. Moving into number 4 guy, I could see definitely get traded. He will get traded this offseason, and maybe he is the first player to get traded. Going with Brandin Cooks, it was obviously reported he wanted to be traded at this past NFL trade deadline, and then he was very upset when that did not happen. And then he came out in after the season was over and said he does not want to be part of a rebuild. So he's more than likely going to be traded at some point in the next couple of months. Now, when you look at his contract, he has 2 years left on his contract. His cap hit for this upcoming season is $26.4 million, and then 2024 is $24.6 million. Some potential teams, I can see the Bears, like I mentioned, they have plenty of cap space. The same thing with the Giants, like I said about with DeAndre Hopkins. And then another team I would throw out there is Baltimore Ravens. I don't see Brandin Cooks going back to the Patriots, so that's why I didn't list him in the top 3. And then with the Baltimore Ravens, I guess I could have said DeAndre Hopkins kind of makes sense as a potential spot there, but they got Rashad Bateman, who's a bigger wide receiver who kind of somewhat in that DeAndre Hopkins mold. And so I can see them going with more of the going after a route running technician in Brandin Cooks to complement what they have in Rashad Bateman, since he'll be healthy next year. So I could definitely see Cooks going all up there to Baltimore. And then my last guy I could see maybe potentially being traded first. I saw this reported on articles as a suggestion. I definitely agree with the thinking of this one with Cameron Jordan. Cameron Jordan's 33 years old. The Saints are negative $60 million in cap space right now, so they have to clear all that cap space, and then if they want to go get a quarterback or whatever they're going to do this offseason to compete next year, and then they're kind of like, with them officially moving on from Sean Payton, they don't really have a young quarterback right now. We'll see if they go after a veteran quarterback to maybe compete this year, but in my opinion, I think they're going to kind of start tearing things down and then rebuilding that roster. So that what you do is you kind of get rid of the veterans, right? So and then also with Cameron Jordan, if he's getting older in his age, I could see him not wanting to stick around for a rebuild and wanting to go win his Super Bowl. Now he only has 1 year left on his contract with 3 void years, and his cap number for next year is $25.7 million. So yeah, I could definitely see him getting moved at this offseason, but I just think those top 4 guys are likely going to be the first player that will be traded in this upcoming NFL offseason. Could happen this week. Likely will happen next week with Derek Carr. We'll see. If there's any names out there you guys think that will get traded before these players, definitely throw it in my comment section. Other than that, guys, I'm going to hop off here. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you know when all my latest NFL content is going to be published this offseason. And then other than that, hit me up on my socials at Cody Talks NFL. I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.